Last month, an accidental chemical spill at Luke Paper Mill in western Maryland introduced almost 10,000 gallons of latex into the Potomac River. By all reports, there was very little chance of our drinking water being contaminated, yet one neighboring state water treatment facility chose to close off all intake valves from the Potomac River until after the chemical plume passed by. Colin, any reason to believe Washington County was less at risk than anyone else?
I think as with any risk, obviously it has to be mitigated by the need, right? So apparently, and according to some stats that Bob was giving me, this spill went on for 100 and some odd hours. Right. So had we closed our intake valves for that period of time, we would have been facing some fairly serious water shortages. So I think that there's a concern from a health standpoint in terms of folks who are latex intolerant and have issues, but I think that they, obviously we haven't had any huge spike in issues with folks in the county or health issues, so I think that they probably made the right call.
Well, that's a good point, but Carl, are these health issues, would they show themselves in the short term, or are there potentially long-term issues here?
I don't know. In the long term, there's no way of telling that right off the bat. We also have to look at we had the additional dilution from all that rain during that time frame, which would have mitigated significantly.
And speaking to the Director of Utilities for the City of Hagerstown, what they did at the R.C. Wilson plant was they increased their coagulant, added a little bit more acid. By that time, it separated everything that was in it, and that all falls, and then they use their vacuum scrubbers to keep it clean at the bottom. So really, at that point in time, the water was just like it was never there.
So it's not like it was ignored. They acted. They acted.
Right.
They acted with caution. Yeah.
And they were reasonable. We have the Berkman plant in Smithsburg, which is fed by the Edgemont Reservoir. So if it really got to the point where they would have had to shut down the intake valves, still 114 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
I don't even think that we could have recovered. Like I said, there would have been water outages and shortages all over Washington County because our water lines run everywhere.
Yeah.
So in your thought process, they made the right decision.
They made absolutely the right decision. And one thing I can tell you that the Director of Utilities for the City of Hagerstown, he's a guy that I would trust no matter what. He is, first off, he's super intelligent. I hope he never hears me talk about him like this. But, he's a good guy. He's upfront. He doesn't bring any BS to the table when he comes to the table, and he tells you like it is. And I would definitely trust him with something like this. I think they made the right call.
Colin, what are your thoughts?
Again, on this particular issue, and obviously we're dealing with a river, right? So the issue is going to be a short-lived issue. It's going to wash down. Like Carl brought up, we had a lot of rain during this period of time as well, so that helped certainly wash it down. I think it was a short-term issue. I think that the treatment plant acted accordingly. They dealt with it properly. I certainly haven't noticed any issues.
I wonder if that guy's still got his job. Because they said it was like one guy.
It was one guy, and he forgot to close a shut-off valve, and it leaked over a 4-hour period. And it was an honest accident. But again, MDE hasn't, to date anyway, hasn't fined him with anything, which is surprising to me because MDE is usually the first thing you're going to do is jump on somebody with a fine.
Well,
but they haven't done that. So
we're dealing with a paper mill, right? So there could have been a lot worse things that they could have released into the environment more so than latex. And again, understanding that there's a concern from certain portion of the population to have allergies to it. And I think the topic of any immediate impact of it, somebody who's allergic to latex would have had a reaction very quickly. So it's not something that would happen over time. Now, what the long-term effects are, who knows? But really, at this point, it has become more the base problem than it is Washington County's because it's all washed down.
Sure, and there has been no fish kill. There's been none of those things. Keep in mind that this doesn't attach itself to plant life and things like that. So what's going to happen is it's going to eventually go out to sea.
Right.
And some dolphins, may end up getting latex poisoning. I don't know.
Well, and latex really is a natural product. It's a product of the rubber tree. So it's not ammonia. It's not mercury or something.
I don't believe OSHA listed it as a hazardous material at all.
No, they don't.
No.
So it's a potential allergen, but not a hazard.
And I can tell you, MDE doesn't care about that.
No, of course
MDE
not.
cares about, okay, we have the opportunity, which is why I still find it very surprising that they haven't fined these people yet.
So it's like it's like we've released a huge giant condom into the.
We have very safe crabs
We have
in the
very
bay.
safe
Well,
crabs. That's
yeah.
good. Well, guess what?
I think that's probably enough, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
probably
that's
it.
definitely enough.
I don't know that we could take any more
I'm
of
gonna
that.
give you the last word on that.
Coming up next, is America's stance with Russia too weak? Or are we being just a good world neighbor? Stay tuned. We're back in 3 minutes.